One of Nigeria's finest architects has passed on, Sunday Adebiyi Alabi. A rare gem, an astute professional, a master of industry, and a pillar of courage. Today we grieve for his demise, but more importantly, we celebrate a life well lived. A great lover, a patriot, and nation builder.
I'd like to tell you about my husband, Architect Sunday Adebiyi Alabi, who first of all struck me when we met as a great lover of his country. He was a passionate visionary who believed in the art of living and wanted to give this standard to as many people as possible.
If there was one thing I think I would miss the most, it would definitely be his sense of humor.
My father was he was a jack of all trades in a lot of ways. My father was a consummate professional who was also approached his life in a very, very humble demeanor. Everything I've learned in my life about how to be a professional in my discipline and how I should approach people, that humility that my father had, everything I've learned on the approach and how to be a professional is from him.
What I found remarkable about him was his presence and his regal nature. I think I even kind of tuned my own mannerisms and tone in a similar way to his, where it was just that what I loved about him is that my father could be in a room and not say anything or not make a sound or, not move around too much, but you could feel his presence in the room.
I met Architect Sunday Adebiyi Alabi in the architectural school at the Ahmadu Bello University in Zaria. I was a student in Ahmadu Bello University, architectural department. BE, as we call him, arrived after foundation education in architecture in England to join the university. We all have 5-year cycles as students of architecture. And then most of us, since it's a small department, interact very closely together. But in 3 classes before you vacate the university are usually very, very, very close. And Alabi, when he arrived, was such an enigma in the university, at the department, that people always cluttered around him. It was not too difficult for me to have an affinity with him at that time in the university.
With deep sorrow in our hearts, this industry general passed away on the 30th of November 2018 after a short period of ill health. Architect Sunday Adebiyi Alabi was born in 1943 in Kaduna State, Nigeria. The only son of 6 children from his mother, he had his secondary school education at Government Technical School, Kano, between 1956 to 1960. Due to his exceptional brilliance and commitment to his educational development, he earned a scholarship to Portsmouth College, United Kingdom, where he went on to develop an uncommon passion for architectural designs. He studied in Portsmouth for only 1 year, then after proceeded to Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Nigeria. He graduated in 1967 with honors in architecture. Following his intellectual prowess, he started his career as an architectural assistant in Kesley, Hunter and Partners, Kaduna, while he was still a university undergraduate.
We met, I think, about 1970 or so. He was still in the university, he was just going to finish.
After his graduation, he worked with Niger Consultants Kaduna for 2 years before he left off to found Alabi Associates, which later became Habitat Associates in 1975.
Being an architect, studied in Zaria, you were very close to the big architects doing works there, and Architect Alabi was certainly one of the people at the very, very top of their professions. We celebrate them, we talk about them, we're taught about them in school. There are several masters that you learn about, and he's one. Looking through his works, following his works, being in his works, I believe that the architectural profession has lost a giant indeed.
Architect Sunday Adebiyi Alabi got married to Yemi Alabi in 1970, with whom he had 5 kids, namely Mayowa, Korode, Ireti, Tomiwa, and Tola Alabi. He also has 6 grandchildren.
My name is Mayowa Alabi, and I'm the eldest child of Yemi Alabi and Sunday Samuel Adebiyi Alabi. And I have a lot of reflections about being the child of such a wonderful father and such great parents. Together, they worked very hard to give us everything we could ever imagine. The most important thing that I think I've learned from my father is dedication to a community. And also, in his own immutable words to me, always try your best. I'll never forget him telling me that. Amongst other things, I do believe that that is the highest principle that my father uttered to me. It's one that I live by, consciously and I hope subconsciously. He was full of a lot of other lessons, and those range from being honest, making sure you earn your keep. Everything that you earn must be through deserving it. Always making sure that if you're in arrears, you make up for it. Always giving anything you can to anybody in need. There are so many other principles, but I believe trying your best, as I mentioned, is to me the one that stands up. It covers so much and so many aspects of one's life, I think, that in anything you do, in all your waking hours, in every conscious effort, and hopefully subconscious effort, you are giving it your all. You leave nothing on the table.
He was a very simple man. As complex as his life was in terms of, his great designs, all the different relationships he had, the private public sector that he worked in, as complex as a lot of his professional life was, he was a very simple man. My father's core beliefs were just work hard, be good to people, give back in your own way, and be humble about it.
My name is Ireti Ogunsanya, and I am the only daughter of the Alabi family. And this is my husband, Jide Ogunsanya. My dad, on November 30th, my life was forever changed. I've always had an extremely special bond with my dad. Even my name, Iriti, which means we were waiting, or hope for short. My parents, after having 2 boys, my dad especially was waiting for his girl. And that was the beginning of a very special bond with my father.
Taking the time to be with him during the latest World Cup was a very treasured moment for myself, and I imagine for him too. I think he was glad to have the company of one of his children there, and for us to just kind of go back to the basics of what we used to do when I was a kid and when he was younger, of just watching football.
I set up my own practice in Lagos in the mid-70s, and I worked closely with Architect Alabi. I recall that I used to travel by road from Lagos up to the northern states where I had projects. And sometimes I do arrive in Kaduna by road at 4 a.m. in the morning. And the very first place I used to go to was to Architect Alabi's house and wake him up at 4:30 in the morning. And they would give me accommodation and feed me.
B. Alabi was a very good person. And his demise is going to live with us for a long time. Because his goodness will continue to be there for us to see, even though he's not here physically, but we will continue to remember him.
Architect Sunday Adebiyi Alabi had a very rewarding career in architecture through dedication and hard work. He was a force to reckon with in the profession of architecture in Nigeria. Some of his notable works include, but not limited to, the design and completion of Nigeria Communications Commission, National Electric Power Authority Headquarters Abuja, State House Clinic, Ministry of Foreign Affairs Headquarters Abuja, MTN Suite Center, National Hospital Abuja, the Eagle Square Abuja, and many others. Architect Sunday Adebiyi Alabi mentored a host of people in the architectural profession. He was a great giver and a supporter of good fortunes.
Both in his professionalism, in diligence, in detailing, in encouragement, in humor. There were so many things to learn about the man that has just been translated. To us, he was not a boss, he was a mentor, he was a teacher. He was a diligent man, a wonderful man, a generous man too. He related very well with everyone in the office according to what you brought on the table. He had always encouraged everyone to do his best at all times. He was a man of integrity, transparent, and he had everything that any man should learn to be what he intends to be for us.
One thing I remember vividly was when I joined Habitat Associates in 1991 as a young architect. I learned simplicity from him in terms of architecture. And if you look at most of Habitat Associates works, they are really simple but beautiful. I came in with high notion that you had to overdo things. But the first thing Architect Alabi told me or taught me was that, look, young architect, you must be simple. There's no point going overboard, over the board. Make it as simple as possible, and at the end of the day, you will see beauty.
Yes.
That is.
And talking about beauty, you know, he's a great man of taste, even in his appearance, with his snow white kaftan, you know, and always looking tall and strong. And he says with pride, "Emi bi Alabi," you know, me, I am bi Alabi. And you know, I worked with him for 7 years, and he mentored me, changed a lot of settings in my heart, in my mind, and with all I learned from Habitat Associates, you know, I could stand tall and bold and look anybody in the eye and say the truth and how it should be said.
Yeah, of course, indeed, it was a privilege working under Architect Sunday Adebiyi Alabi. He will not compromise. He cannot harbor any negligence in anything that you do. He wants you to be up in your game at the highest level. So anywhere you go, people just marvel, even in terms of keeping to time. For him, if you say 1 o'clock must be 1 o'clock, there's no excuse. In short, he will tell you if you're going for a meeting, you must plan to get there 30 minutes before time, because anything can happen along the way. That was him. He planned everything well ahead to detail, allowing for any contingency along the way to make sure your word is your bond. That was Architect Alabi. When you make a promise, you must fulfill it professionally and otherwise. So it was indeed a great virtue, a great opportunity working under him. And you will see everyone that work under Habitat, when you go outside, the difference is just there. People know that, no, you must have worked under Architect Alabi. He was indeed a gift to this generation, and we are happy to be part of his life. God really gave him to us, and we are really blessed by his being here.
I think it's safe to say that the man was a school. Habitat was just the building within which the school happened. That man was a school completely, you know, whether it's lifestyle, personality, professionalism, and you know, what have you. That man was a school. And all of us here are graduates of that school. Habitat Associate just happens to be the stamp we got when we graduated. So, I mean, it's difficult to say anything more than thank you. You know, that he happened, and we happened to taste of that event. I think we're fortunate. We're fortunate. He was a school. He was a school, not Habitat. He was a school.
I served here. That was in Kaduna office. By the time I got into the office and saw the level of work, detailing, precision, details that involved so many things, I just threw everything I learned from school, I threw it out the door and focused on what there is there. So, and getting to know him, going to site with him as well, there are certain things you will see on site that he personally would rather break down and redo from the scratch, despite even if he's going to use his own personal money.
Alabi wasn't just an employer, he was a father to anyone who has gone through Habitat Associates, both in professionalism and in discipline. There is no way you will come to Habitat and go out of Habitat without being disciplined. So that is one other credit that is added to him, apart from the professional aspect of it. We will really miss him. It's painful. We're not expecting it so soon, but God loves him most.
Architect Sunday Alabi, we dearly miss you. May your soul rest in peace.
Amen.
Did a lot. He did a lot for people he knew very well, for people he didn't know very well, and certainly for me, as you know, one of his kids. And I had a lot of private moments with my dad, despite how busy he was, where he would expose me to, you know, his work. I remember my father at a very young age bringing me and my older brother in for a summer, instead of, you know, just watching TV and laying around. He brought us to Habitat Associates, to his office. I couldn't have been more than, I don't even remember, 9, 10, 11 at that time. and made us actually come to the office throughout the summer and watch his teamwork. And he would also give us kind of like little tasks and little projects to do. I didn't realize the importance of that then, but that this man was actually helping us build character.
I just feel very proud to have a grandfather who was so accepting of my parents and my mom, especially because she wasn't Nigerian.
He taught me how to appreciate fine watches, which I really appreciated about him. Growing up, he always had a watch that you could always be like, what is that, and he'd explain and he'd talk about it. He had that deep appreciation for fine timepiece making and the craftsmanship that went into really well-made products. And he always carried around a briefcase, which I never really understood or cared much for until I got older. He actually gave me a briefcase when I left Nigeria at 18, and I tucked it away in my luggage when I got to the States, and I never used it for a long time. And then when I think I was turning maybe 28, 29, about 10 years later, I pulled it out, and it just kind of came to me. I was like, oh, this is what this briefcase is here for. So it just been sitting there for a long time, but eventually I was ready as an adult to use a briefcase and carry it around, because there's a certain look to a person that's carrying a briefcase. It's not just for anybody. So I think I just was ready to then assume my father's image.
I see a lot of the traits in my father, also in my husband.
I think I actually learned a lot of those things. I mean, now when I think about it, a lot of those things are actually things that I think are traits that I may have had before, but definitely were greatly enhanced by him. I think a lot of the things that, a lot of the ways that he was just really just made me feel like, wow, I need to model my life, after this man.
My father-in-law first, just a wonderful human being who welcomed me along with the whole family to become part of this family, and I feel so grateful to him and to all of them for that, for the example he set along with Mommy on building a strong family that loves each other and nurtures each other and puts each other at the front of their minds and hearts all the time.
This is a man who would see other human beings and without saying it, he would think, what can I do for this person? Even if he had never met them before, whether he knew you or not.
As well as being a very good husband, he was a very, very responsible husband. And I admired his sense of humor greatly. He diffused situations easily by making it light.
My senior brother and my dad, as I call him, Babami, was a gentleman, a man with a large heart. As I've said earlier, that I'm the youngest out of the 6. He stood in the gap for me as a father, and that's what I remember him with. He is a man with a large heart. He is a loving man.
It was when I was in my Tama that I knew Baba Architect Sunday Adebiyi Alabi. Then he was sick. I was informed that he was sick and bedridden. And so we used to come to meet with him once in a while and to give him Holy Communion and to preach the Word of God to him, to strengthen his faith. And strengthening his faith could mean for 2 things. And I told him that if your faith is strong, the Lord can heal you. If not, He wants to take you home. If your faith in Him is strong, He will take you to His home of rest in heaven. And he followed our discourse very closely. Anytime I came, he was glad to receive us. We met in his bedroom, shared the Word of God with him, sang some choruses, and gave him Holy Communion to strengthen him. By the time I was leaving, he was getting stronger. In fact, he was really moving around. And so I expected that he would have moved further that way. Suddenly, recently, I learned that the Lord had called him home.
Great honor to have met him, to have gone through being part of the process of helping him get back to his feet. But at the same time, this helped me as well to grow and to learn one thing that a lot of people do not realize, that simplicity in itself is greatness. An architect, Adebiyi Alabi, was a very simple person.
Who would crack me up now? Who would give me those unusual lines, say things I didn't expect? Who would make me less serious than I normally am?
What I will miss the most is the fact that I'll never hear him call me Papa, which was his name for me. I'll never hear that again.
Absolutely the hardest part is just the fact that I'm not going to see him in this form anymore. A lot of me feels like he really tried to hold on for me. You know, all of us, but I feel like especially for me. There's parts of me that deal with if he heard my voice, he would still be here. I'm gonna really miss him. I just want to get that last time to hold him, to talk to him. I spoke to him on a very regular basis. Even towards the end, he called all the time.
Those are big shoes to fill, and I know that it's a huge calling for myself and, you know, the type of people that I even surround myself around, that, you know, we continue to give, we continue to be highly considerate of other people. And I look forward to trying to fill those shoes, but he left some massive footprints.
Beyond me, beyond your kids, how everybody you met, you connected with them and impacted them and influenced them in ways only you, Sunday Adebiyi Alabi, knew how to do. I will live on that legacy, and I will never be able to achieve anything close to what you've achieved, Daddy. But that inspiration to try is something that I very much am looking forward to for the rest of my life, till we meet again.
Architect B, you were a great husband, good father and grandfather, brother, uncle, and a reliable friend to many. Though we are saddened by your demise, but we take solace in the word of God, which says, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even if he dies. We are convinced that you would live and you live on. Rest in God's bosom. We'll love you and we'll miss you greatly. Adieu, Papa.